when you can.
Temporary layoffs.
Good times.
Easy credit rip-offs.
Good times.
Scratching and surviving.
Good times.
Hanging in a jar.
Good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Good times.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Cooking in Recovery. This is the fifth installment. Yes, fifth installment. I hope you've been enjoying these videos so far. I know I've been having a blast, and everyone down here at MHA has been too. So today I'm going to make something pretty simple. It's a comfort food for me, something that always makes me feel happy, makes me think of being a kid because my mom used to make these. What I'm going to make today is a tuna melt on marble rye. So I'm going to show you how I make my tuna salad for the sandwiches, and then we're going to grill them up and eat them. So let's get started. All right, as always, I'm going to show you our ingredients today, which were bought at Farm Fresh here in Jamestown, and of course supplied to us by St. Luke's Episcopal Church. Wonderful place. Thank you so much for sponsoring, and thank you Farm Fresh they were actually the sponsor of the show before St. Luke's did it, but we still get all of our groceries from there every week. So, tuna melts. We have tuna. Yes, I have more than just one can, but I'm just showing you this for now. So we got tuna fish, canned tuna fish. I always get the tuna in water, not the tuna in oil. The tuna in oil is just not good. I don't even know why they do it. So make sure you get tuna in water. Got some celery, a green pepper, red onion, some garlic salt, a little Dijon mustard, some dill relish. You can use sweet if you want, but I like to use the dill relish. Some regular mayonnaise. I don't like Miracle Whip in my tuna. Regular mayonnaise, Swiss cheese, and this is the marble rye bread from Farm Fresh, which I am a little biased to. This is the same recipe that was used at my family's bakery, Jones Bakery. So this is a wonderful marble rye, and it's actually made by my Uncle Dave up at Farm. All right, so here we go. We're going to start chopping up our ingredients. I'm going to start with the celery. Okay, cut those little pieces off right there. Don't necessarily need them. Definitely don't need that part. Take that off. Now, I'm making tuna salad, so I really do not want this in big chunks at all, right? Because I want this to fit on the sandwich nice. So at first, I'm just going to go through, cut these stalks in half. If they're big, like this piece is, I'm going to cut that piece in half. So actually trying to cut the stalks into quarters here. If you can't do it when they're that long, that's fine. Do it when they're, you can cut it in half, and then cut it in half if that's a little bit easier for you. All right, but I'm just going to go through. Try to do it as even as possible. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. When you're coming down through the grain of the celery, you can kind of take your knife here and there, so it might wibble wobble a little bit, but you're all right. Doesn't have to be totally perfect, right? So I'm just going through, cutting these into quarters. Cut this into a quarter as well. Now I'm just going to kind of bunch it up. Now you don't have to do all of them like this if you want to. You can just do a couple, 3 or 4. It's up to you. If you want to just kind of bunch them up, remember, curl your fingers. All right? Don't have them sticking out like this. You cut off the tip of your finger. Curl it up. Take your knife, put it on there, and just real gently start chopping through, dicing up the celery. I've talked about this before in the past. Let the knife kind of do the work and slowly move itself over. Don't force it over, then you're going to get big chunks. If you just do it nice and slow like this, you'll get nice little diced up pieces. Take your time with it. You don't have to go super fast. I mean, as you do this more and more, you will start to speed up, but you don't have to try to do it fast right off the bat. Now I'm at the end here, so it's getting kind of hard for my hands to hold on to this. I got bigger hands. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of pinch it and really take my time. Not even going to try to go fast at all. Okay, because my fingers are right there, my fingers and my thumb, and I do not want to cut them. Slowly take my time. And there we go. So you can see these pieces nice and small, not big at all. Nice little chopped up pieces of celery. Next up, we're going to dice up the onion. You guys are probably getting sick of watching me dice up onions. It seems like every week I'm doing something with an onion, either dicing it or slicing it. I'm a big fan of onions. I absolutely love onions, especially red onion is my favorite. I can't get enough of them. So we're just going to go ahead and dice up this onion. You've seen me do this before. Okay, I peeled it, cut it in half, set it down. Nice, thin, small chops going with the grain of the onion. Turn to the side. Remember, so this is for a sandwich. You know, I want this diced up small. I do not want big, huge chunks. So again, I'm going to take my time, pinch it together, let my knife slowly slide over as I'm coming down through it. Remember, I got it to the end, put it down on my side, or on its side, I should say, and then just come through and dice it up. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same with this half of the onion. Nice, thin slices down. Remember, not all the way through, leaving about half an inch, quarter of an inch of space on the other side of the onion so that it holds together. Turning it, coming down through to dice it up. Get to that end, lay it on its side. Real small little chops as I slowly turn it until I get to the end. And there's our onion. Now, I put some different stuff in my tuna salad than some people do, so I've already got the celery, red onion. Next up, I'm going to dice up a green pepper. You don't have to if you don't want to. I really like green pepper in my tuna salad. I don't know why, but I started doing that sometime down the line, and I've just always really enjoyed it in there since then. So I'm going to cut it into real thin julienne strips. Grab those, turn to the side, kind of squeeze them together, right? Same thing, nice, small dices. Get towards the end, take your time, and cut yourself. Begin with this piece. Nice, thin strips. Turn to the side. Mix it up. Small little pieces. Now the reason I cut these into small pieces when I'm making tuna salad or say chicken salad or something like that is because it's going to be on a sandwich, and I don't want these big huge chunks to basically fall out while I'm trying to eat the sandwich. If it's in smaller pieces, it's going to be easier to eat. So that's the point of having it in these small pieces, or I should say one of the points of having it in the small pieces. But also too, if I have it in big chunks, I'm not going to get a bite of it in every bite. If I do it in small, diced up pieces, I have a better chance of getting a bite or getting some of each vegetable in every bite of the sandwich, if that makes sense. Makes sense to me. Hopefully it'll make sense to you. So there's our green pepper. So now that I've got all the vegetables chopped up, the onions, the green peppers, and the celery, before I put anything else in, I'm just going to kind of mix them around just to basically get it mixed up before I start putting the rest of the ingredients in. Kind of mixing it in stages makes it a little bit easier. So, as you can see, I have now added my tuna fish to the celery, onions, and green pepper. This is 5 cans of tuna. So now what I'm going to do before I start adding other stuff, all right, same thing I was just kind of doing with the vegetables, is I'm just going to go through and kind of chop this tuna with the spoon, right, just kind of break it up and start to mix it in with the vegetables. For a couple reasons. Number one, then it's going to be easier once I put the other ingredients in to stir it up or to mix it up. But also, too, so you can kind of see here that it's almost like equal parts vegetables and the tuna. It's not too much of one or the other. It's a good mix of all of it. And if you ask me, that's what makes a good tuna salad or chicken salad or egg salad, whatever it is. You don't want it too heavy on just vegetables or too heavy just tuna. You want it even. So, I have celery, onions, green peppers, tuna, and now this is garlic salt. I'm going to put a little garlic salt in there. I know normally I just use regular salt, but I really like garlic salt in my tuna salad. So I'm going to put that in there, stir it up. Trying to kind of spread this all out before I get to like the mayonnaise and stuff like that. And then I'm going to grab, forgot to show this earlier, but black pepper. Not a lot. You just want a little bit. That's it. Now sometimes when I'm feeling a little risky, I guess you could say, I like to put like cayenne pepper or roasted red pepper flakes in there to kind of spice it up a little bit, but today I'm not going to do that because guaranteed you will get heartburn, and I don't want heartburn today. So black pepper, garlic salt, that's what's in there for right now. All right, now we're going to move on to our next ingredients. So next we're going to start adding some of the like liquidier ingredients. So first I'm going to start with the relish, dill relish. Now if you want to, you could just, cut up pickles and put it in there. Some people do that. You can use sweet relish if you want. I just find it a lot easier to just buy dill relish. There's no chopping, there's no nothing, it's just ready to go. Take a fork, put in a good amount. It's probably going to be probably half a cup, I would say. And now same kind of thing. I go through and I mix things as I go. All right, each ingredient. So I can kind of see what's happening too. See if it's all kind of spreading out. If I need to add more of it as I go. Or before I go, I should say, before I move on to the next thing. It's probably hard for you to see on the camera, but I can kind of see the relish. I can see that I need just a little bit more so that it's evenly spread. So I would say we're probably now at a cup and a quarter. You know what? Screw it. Let's just put the whole jar in there. There you go. There we go. Got the whole jar in there. Personally, I love relish, so I'm not too worried about it. There we go. All right, let's move on to the next stuff. All right, so tuna salad is a mayo-based salad in this case for me. You don't have to, but I like to. So, good amount of mayonnaise in there. All right, 2, 3. We'll go with 3 big dollops. All right, it's better to have to add more than to put too much in the very beginning, right? So, because it's easier to add than to take away. You can't take away at this point. What's in there is in there. So there's those 4 dollops of mayonnaise, but now I'm also going to put a little bit of the Dijon mustard in here right now. Reason being is the mustard would be hard to just see by itself. I know that to those 4 dollops of mustard, I just need, I don't know what's that, 3 tablespoons, I'd say, of the mustard to add to it. Because I don't want too much mustard, because then that's all you're going to taste. I want just enough. So let's start to mix this up and see where we're at. Okay, I don't want it real soupy, because then it's just going to fall apart when you're trying to eat it. You want it to be not dry, but just moist enough with the mayo and the relish and the mustard. And as you can see, this to me is a perfect consistency. And I'll kind of show you in a second what I'm talking about. You can see how it's still all sticking together. It's not running. See, I can still form it into a big ball. You kind of see there. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can see. So it's got a good consistency. It's not runny. Now that also has to do with when I drain the tuna fish. You know, you have to drain it really well. You know, put it in a strainer, let it sit for a second, maybe while you're chopping up your other vegetables, to make sure that all that water is out of the tuna, because you don't want to add that to what you got going on here. Okay. Now at this point, I would say go ahead and taste it, see where it's at, see if it needs a little bit more garlic salt, a little more pepper. You know, if you want to add a little more mustard, you can. That's up to you. But like I said, I just wanted a little bit to give it flavor. So next up, we'll put together our sandwiches, and then we will grill them. All right, let's go. So next up, I've got the pan behind me starting to warm up. Okay, so while that's starting to warm up, because we all know how long that frickin' stove takes, this is the marble rye. This is the way I make my tuna melt sandwiches. Okay, I don't put the cheese on just one side. I want them on both sides. All right. So I take a piece, and also I like it to cover the whole thing, right? So you can see one piece on either side. We still have a big empty spot, right? So take your piece, third piece, I should say. You can just cut it in half if you want, like that, and then put that on to cover it up. That way you're getting melted cheese in the whole thing. All right, so there's that. Next up, take my tuna from over here. Just put it on there. Now you don't want to do too much, because then it's going to go flying everywhere, right? You want just enough on there. Okay, kind of push it on, make sure it's staying there. Take your other half of your bread, put it on. Now, yes, I will put butter in the pan, but this is something I do for my grilled cheese sandwiches, tuna melts, all of that. All right. I not only use butter to grill it, but I take just a little bit of mayonnaise and put it on the bread. Remember, mayonnaise is just, real mayonnaise is just egg and oil. So what's that going to do? It's going to give it a little bit of flavor, but it's also going to give it a little bit of crispiness, which you will see once we are done. So now, let's go over to where the pan is. And yes, I'll put it on the other side, but I do that once in the pan, and you'll see that in a second. So we're just about ready. We'll go over to the pan and start frying up the sandwich. All right, so now we're over here at the pan. Put some butter in there. Got it nice and warm first. Right, now I've just put a slab of butter in there, slowly moving it around. You can shake it like that, like I was doing with the pan, or I know some people take their fork, kind of move it around like this, so it gets into all the spots, right? So that butter's melted. I'm gonna take my sandwich. Remember, I put the mayonnaise on the one side, so I'm going to put a mayonnaise side down right there. I'm going to take my knife, put a little bit of mayonnaise on the other side as well. Not a ton, remember, just putting a little bit on there. It's just for extra flavor. So, of course, now we just let our sandwich cook up. I started it with the pan really hot, okay, and then I turned the heat down just a little bit because you don't want it to cook too fast, right? If you let it go too fast, what's going to happen is your bread's going to burn. The cheese and the tuna on the inside is not, the cheese isn't going to melt. The tuna's not going to get warm. You're just going to have burnt bread on either side. So I'm trying to avoid that. So I've turned the heat down a little bit. You want it hot to start. Okay, so now we're just going to let it cook. All right, so this has been cooking for about a minute, I would say. Got a little bit of cheese coming off the sides there. So I know that side's probably pretty good. Take my flipper. Carefully put your finger on it. Flip it right over. There you go. Look at that. Kind of touching it with the flipper. I can feel that it's perfectly crisp, just the way I want it. All right, this pan's a little big, but it's the best frying pan I've got here, so I'm kind of swooshing around, picking up some of that butter. And letting the other side cook. Same thing, about a minute and a half. You don't want it to go for too long. Okay, just enough. So in a second, we'll come back and we'll see what the sandwich looks like when it's all done. All right, so the sandwich was done. Took it out of the pan. So you can kind of see, if I pick it up, you can see the cheese is melted there. It's looking nice and toasty, ready to rock. Take my knife, just cut it, put it on my plate. Whoa, and we're ready to go. Now I just got to find a lucky person to try it. All right, well, this week I found two different people to come hang out with me. As always, Stephen Michael Cobb is here. But this week, my good buddy Ken Kendall, who works down here with us at the MHA, he is the lucky guy who gets to try the tuna melt. So go ahead, Ken, and let us know what you think.
All right.
How is it?
That's good.
All right. Well, it's got Ken's approval, which is awesome. So, Steve, I know in a little bit I'm going to be making sandwiches for the rest of us, but I have a feeling you probably want to talk to people a little bit this week.
Well, I just want to, we've got something new coming up that we talked about last week as a little preview. We're going to be adding recovery yoga Thursday nights, 7 p.m. on our Zoom room, and you can get directions on how to get on our Zoom room by going to our Facebook page, MHA Chautauqua, or by going to our website, which is mhachautauqua.org. There's information on how to get on our Zoom group. So starting Thursday night, 7 p.m., Jen Rains, amazing yoga teacher who's part of our community, and she's going to be doing a yoga class open to everyone.
That's awesome.
Her recovery yoga, so it's great. The other thing we're going to add is Tuesdays at 12 noon. Here at our center in Jamestown, we had an AA meeting, and when we closed down, we didn't immediately transfer that to the Zoom. That's coming back this coming Tuesday, 12 noon. The Living Sober group of AA in Jamestown is returning, so don't forget to check that out. Again, that's on Zoom.
That's
So,
awesome. And now we're still having our normal groups as well, every day, 7 days a week, at 10, 2, and 7 o'clock. And as always, I know Steve would say, if you need a coach or you want to talk to someone, you can always reach us at 716-661-9044. And also check out our website. That has a lot of helpful things to get you through this tough time as well, right?
That's right. And I guess the other thing I would add is if you need help getting connected to resources, if you need food, if you need a phone, if you need minutes for a phone so you can get connected for help or treatment or connected to a peer, if that's an issue with you, reach out to us and talk to us. We have some resources we can connect you with.
Yes, and that's thanks to a lot of our different partners here in the community, like the Community Foundation, the United Way, and of course this class is brought to you every week by St. Luke's Episcopal Church here in Jamestown and Farm Fresh Foods. So unless anyone else has anything else to say, I'm going to start making us some more sandwiches so the rest of us can eat. Huh? Does that sound good? And also Steve went and got tomato soup because I agreed with him. Tuna fish sandwiches and tomato soup are definitely a comfort food. I'm not going to show you how we make the tomato soup.
You open a can and you
Yeah,
put in some
well,
milk.
I wanted to make it a little different, but it's okay. Maybe next week I can make tomato soup and show you guys how I would make it. How's that? All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week on Cooking in Recovery. And just so you know, I'm kind of distracted because I've got this guy over here, messing with me. See, he thought he was going to get away with it, but no. I'm fast. I can grab the camera. All right, see you all next week. Thank you very much.